Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Hello, hello. It is Wise Women's Wednesday, and already the wise women are showing up. I see Sandy, Alice, Doris, Catherine, and Jocelyn. So glad you're here. Nancy's here. Cheers, Mother Hen. Here's to you. I'm glad you're all here. Seriously, very glad you're all here. I have an interesting show for you. You know, digging around and finding stuff out about this concept of loving yourself is a real eye-opener. So I hope you're enjoying this week's topic, and we'll wrap it up all together tomorrow, of course, put a little bow on it and give it to you. Cindy, hello. It's good to have you here. Anne, I'm delighted to see you. So we've got several things going on. First of all, get your tickets for heaven's sakes. Full Bloom is on. It's this Saturday. We start at 9 a.m. Eastern. I know for you West Coast folks, that's a lot, but our West Coast people still show up. They set their alarm and they get the coffee and they go. It's a full day. You get to do it in your home. It is a virtual thing. It's all about being more than enough, because you are more than enough. And we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of that. Hi, Kathy. We're going to be living a life of abundance. It's going to be amazing. And the only thing missing is you. Go check it out at savingdinner.com/Bloom. Got all the details there. All the details. So, yes, all the details. Secondarily, our skincare continues. This one I'm really excited about. You should be too, because our Vibrant C plus E is, and let me just show you this. I'm not going to waste it because this is just so lovely. But do you see that? And the emollients of it, and the smell of it, of course, is delicious. But this vitamin C plus E has encapsulated vitamin C and E. I love it on my neck. I already have it on I do this every single morning, and now I've got extra all over my face, and then always hit the neck, ladies. The neck needs it. And right now I am smelling the wonderfulness of this whole thing, because the vitamin C is vibrant and alive. Vitamin C, because of the nature of it, it quickly becomes rancid. Not the way that we produce it, because we encapsulate it with vitamin E, which also helps your skin. And it goes deep into the skin. It does tingle. It does. And it is silky and everything about it. And it just very faint, light orange smell. Beautiful stuff. Now, you will get this. You will also get, excuse me, a bottle of our Beauty Support. Beauty Support helps you build your own collagen. So you're going to do something from the outside of your skin and something for the inside. This does magic for your hair and your nails and your skin, your joints, everything. It's wonderful. Remember, 97% of us are collagen deficient. This is why we wrinkle so easily. This is why our skin isn't as elastic or as thick as it needs to be. And we just can't build it like we used to. You know why? We're older. Why do we get punished for being older? But apparently this is just the way it works. So this Beauty Support helps us to create the collagen we used to, like when we were younger. And that works together with our perfect paleo protein, getting bone broth in, making sure you're eating adequate protein every day, doing your skincare. You're going to be gorgeous. Check it out, because we're going to send you, this is a $50 value, by the way. When you buy this Vibrant C plus E, you'll get this absolutely free. Go to savingdinner.com/BOGO. You don't have to do a thing. Just add it to your cart. We'll take care of all the details. Yeah? You like that? I sure do. I hope you do too. I know you do. So that's one thing. The other thing is our Crave Water, which is flying off the shelves. I love this stuff. If you go to savingdinner.com/Crave Water, you can see me demonstrate how to make it. You can see what it looks like when it's all mixed up with water. And down the hatch deliciousness, get your cravings under control. And it works for any kind of craving that you have. Just telling you. Hello, Jane. All right, Jane's here. Yeah, so this is mighty. And you know what? This is L-glutamine, but this is kind of the flavored version of that. So when you're making your Crave Water, use Crave Water because it tastes delicious, and then save this stuff. If you already have it, guess what? Just save it. All you have to do is add it into your smoothie. That's what I do. So this, all the stuff. All of it works. Did I tell you everything? I think, free shipping. If you are in the lower 48 and you buy $300 worth of goodies in our store, we're going to give you free shipping because we love you and we say thank you. That's our way of saying thank you. That's number one. Number two is our Etsy store has got your Full Bloom swag. All of it. T-shirts, mugs, cups, I don't know, all the things. Go check it out. Our Amber has designed it all and it is darling. Darling. I need to order some stuff myself, so maybe you'll see me wearing it. Go check it. Take a peek-see at our Etsy. Anything for a little rhyme. All right, did you see our quote of the week? It is a little fireball quote. The only woman who never makes mistakes is the woman who never does anything. Don't let that be you. We need to walk ourselves into the place of being women of action. Always. Always. Women of action. That means that we're not fearful. We're not standing back. We're not waiting for everything to be perfect. We get it. We want it. We are in hot pursuit of a vibrant life. Amen? Pinkies up? Of course. It's how we roll. So speaking of how we roll, this whole week we've been talking about what is it about loving oneself? What does that mean? And today I'm coming at it from a slightly different perspective. And I'm really excited to share this with you because I think, somebody who's been in the trenches can really tell a different story. So there's a guy, his name is Kamal Ravikant. He wrote a book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. Now he's coming at this from the perspective of his life was depending on it. He was so depressed, but this guy has done so many things. He's done a 500. He did a 500-mile walk. He has, he had a CEO he was a CEO. His whole business had failed. He's done a lot of different things and became kind of, this basically an icon of just being able to do all these big goals until everything fell apart. And when everything fell apart, he fell apart. And what he noticed and this is what he's writing in this book. And by the way, if you look at this book, it's on Amazon. It's got 11,660 ratings and they're all up there. They're all up there. And people are talking about this book and that it's just, an incredible book. He was a U.S. Army infantry soldier. He climbed the Himalayas. He's meditated with Tibetan monks. And he's also been a consultant in Silicon Valley. So this guy's smart. And he realized that the missing piece was, as his life was falling apart, as he was losing his business, was that he didn't love himself. He just simply did not. He was beating himself up. And you know that feeling. You know that feeling when things aren't going well in your life and you're thinking, I'm having a hard time. I can't get my act together. And you just start putting yourself down, putting yourself down, putting yourself down. We all do that. It is kind of a natural thing is to kick the dog when, or yourself, when things just aren't going your way. But he wrote this book about learning how to love himself and the transformation that came as a result of it. And it wasn't just, these pat answers of, you just got to love yourself. You just got to love yourself. What does that mean? So what he recognized during this time of having a crisis is that he didn't love himself. So he made a vow. Now, this is a guy who prayed with Tibetan monks. So, he understands a little bit about making vows. And it was an important thing to him that he was going to be on this quest to love himself unconditionally. Warts and all, the whole shooting match, but this is what he was going to be about. Even though he didn't know what it was about, he was going to be about it anyway. And what he found was that loving yourself is the most important thing we can do if we are concerned at all about our well-being and our, consequent happiness. That this has to come first. This is a foundational principle. It has to happen. And what he found out, of course, is that our thoughts and beliefs have a significant impact on our reality. What we think about, yes, we bring about. And even more profound was that our reality, we make our dreams come true, even the sad ones, if we are going to go in on that path of thinking garbage thoughts. Hello, Autumn. I'm so glad to see you. So I thought that was so interesting. And he also, what he did was he brought meditation into the equation because he recognized the need for a centering every single day. And to that I say, duh, right? And he centered his meditation around a little mantra that he made up. I love myself, which was really hard for him to say at first. And then it became more of a reality. And again, it's back to, that's kind of almost taboo, isn't it? That we go around saying, oh yes, I love myself, because we're so used to putting ourselves in last place, right? So used to that. But he understood the importance of doing this because he was in such an awful place. I call it the place of rug eating repentance, when your face is just on the floor and you're thinking about all the things that you've done wrong and all the things that are just not right. And that, am I the poster child for failure? I know what that feels like. That's exactly where he is. And where do you start except in the place of accepting yourself with all of that failure and saying, I'm still going to love myself. Think about it. We would do that with our spouse. We would do that with a child. We would even do that with a friend. Do we do it with ourselves is the question. So one of the things that he learned as he was doing this, it's one of the things we have talked about ad nauseum, is the importance of repetition, because repetition is the thing that changes the neural pathways. It just does. It changes it so that we start seeing, instead of it being so awkward and weird, it starts becoming more of a habit. And then as it becomes more of a habit, then it just becomes who we are. That's the beauty of repetition, because with repetition, we can not only form new habits, but new beliefs. And if that is a core belief, then things change, things shift dramatically. And that's one of the keys to loving yourself. And what he also noticed is, just like meditation, that this habit, this belief of loving yourself is also a practice and not a destination. It's not just that you get there, it's that you practice this on a regular basis. And I'm going to say something that I really believe with my whole heart is true. When we do this, it's honoring to God, because who made you? Who made you in the first place? So if we're loving ourselves, God's saying to us, yes, now you get it. That's how I feel about you. I love you. So loving ourselves is a reflection of God's love for us. Isn't that kind of cool? So we got to take action with this, don't we? It's not just a matter of understanding the mechanics of loving oneself. We also need to understand what is it that we need to do in order to get there. And that, to me, is part of the whole thing. Just tell me what to do. Have you ever said that before? Just tell me what to do. Well, it is part of the whole thing, and we do need to do that. But we also need to take it in with a grain of salt and understand that it takes time, it takes practice, it takes conditioning. It's what athletes do. They get conditioned. They get conditioned when they go out and they play their sport. They get conditioned when they go to the gym. They condition when they sit at their training table and eat the food that they're supposed to eat so that they can perform to their utmost athletically. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. How else are you going to be able to love to the utmost? How else are you going to be able to care and to give, to volunteer, to be a good spouse, to be a great friend, a good mother? How else do we do this unless we understand that this is what we need to do? So number one is make a commitment to this and decide that loving yourself needs to be as much of a priority as loving everybody else, because you do that anyway, don't you? Right? And if you make a vow, just like this author did, to unconditionally love yourself, watch how it starts to turn around the way you think about things and the beliefs that you have and the way that you live your life, because that is a profound thing to do. It is a statement saying, I love myself unconditionally. And the next thing could be, just like God loves me, right? That's a beautiful thing. Number two, use the mantra that he made. I love myself throughout the day. Do it throughout the day. You can do it silently. You can do it with mirror work like we talked about yesterday, but do it, because the key to changing the way that we think about things is through repetition by building new neural pathways. And neural pathways are paved and repaved and paved again and repaved. We've talked about the Oregon trails in our brains and how they were built from way back when, and how in real life the Oregon Trail still has ruts where those wagon wheels went. If we want to create something new, then we need to remember that it was through repetition that the old pathways were made. If we want new ones, we're going to have to work on that and make sure that it's being repeated on the regular. Number three is to meditate. When we meditate, we ground ourselves. We get back to the center of who we are. It's getting into the authenticity of who we are as women. It's the beauty of our souls. It's that connection. It's that moment of being just quiet with yourself. The rest of the day is going to be busy, guaranteed. There's going to be people dinging you on your phone. There's going to be phone calls to do. There's going to be work to do. There's going to be meals to be made and beds to be made and laundry. It's going to be endless. It's like that for everybody. Most people aren't just sitting around going, okay, I don't have anything to do in this life. They usually have a list that's all encompassing. But when we are in meditation, we're taking a time out from busy and we're saying, I matter. I'm enough. I'm more than enough. I can live this abundant life. I can just marinate in the beauty of this perfect day that has just been presented to me, right? Isn't this true? So when we do this, the more frequently we do this, and we sit in this meditation and we add in, I love myself, there's going to be a little scream of hallelujah from yourselves, by the way. Because if we can love ourselves, then we can love ourselves. We can love every part of our body. And there's a response that comes from that. It's a chemical response. There's a physiological response. There's a psychological response. There's a spiritual response. Because loving yourself is a pure thing to do. It's a pure thing to do. It's gratitude for the one who made you. Thank you. I see myself with your same eyes. Number four is be consistent. The more frequently we repeat something, the more it becomes habit, the more it becomes a belief. And we ingrain this stuff into our subconscious. And our subconscious is going on and 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 on. Don't you agree? Of course you do. Of course you do. You know that. We all have it in the back of our head. Sometimes we're not even aware of it. But for the most part, we are. And when we are, and we're hearing, you know what? We're repeating that, I love myself. I love myself enough to eat well. I love myself enough to move. I love myself enough to say no to that and say yes to this. Changes everything. It puts a different perspective on everything, and you see things through that lens. And what a beautiful thing that is. It's so wonderful. Number 5 is to be patient, because changing deeply held beliefs, especially even if they are disempowering beliefs, limiting beliefs, even if it's all of that, you just have to remember that self-love doesn't just come. It's awkward as heck. And as a matter of fact, some of us have to battle this whole thing. Oh, it's just sinful and wrong. It's this, that, and the other thing. So if you want to get into this, just be patient with yourself. Be kind. Give yourself some grace and allow this to be a part of who you are and who you are bringing to the table every single day. And watch what happens. Hi, Lynn. And then we have to reflect and adjust, because if you do this even slightly regularly, take a look and see, how is that making me feel? Like, maybe a couple of weeks have passed and you say, yeah, it's been, hit and miss a little bit, but I have been doing this. I do feel better. I do feel a little bit, a little bit more positive. Or adjust it just slightly, or just saying, yeah, it's still kind of weird. It's still kind of rocky. I just, don't quite get this. Well, one of the things that you can do, this is one of the things that I do, is kind of repeat it in the morning, and then get a 3x5 card and write it out. Maybe you leave it under your Kleenex box. I do that with my goals. Leave it under your Kleenex box and take a look at it before you go to bed. And maybe that will start to stir some things up. So you have to remember that it's about simplicity. It's about consistency. It's about making a commitment, and it's about sticking with it. Because this art form that we're talking about of loving yourself is crucial. It's foundational, and it's the way that we move the needle in our lives. We can't do that if we're just completely not loving ourselves. Loving ourselves is accepting ourselves, not accepting ourselves, but accepting ourselves. And when we do that, then we are of service to what our purpose is. And we stay on that path of vibrancy. But it takes this foundational principle of truly loving ourselves first. All right, there's today's show. Wrapped up, put a bow on it, bam. I hope that was helpful. I thought that was interesting. I love reading about people who have stories, and this guy certainly has a story. And anybody who has over 11,000 reviews on a book, that's going to interest me. So take a look at that book. It's on Amazon if it's of interest to you. This will all be out in the show notes, of course, tomorrow. Meanwhile, we're busy over here at Saving Dinner getting ready for full bloom. I hope you are too. If not, check it out at savingdinner.com/bloom. Can't wait to see you. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.